Hello, everybody. It is me, SirScaryStories. Welcome back to another story reading. This one is special. It was personally sent over to me by a viewer. They stated that this was apparently a true story that happened with a friend. And so, he sent over this document also, named Roblox.EXE. So, let us begin. Note, the following was posted on the Roblox forum by a user known as Cassel April 15th, 2009. The post is supposed to be the only evidence of the user's existence on Roblox. Their status and whereabouts, if they even exist, are currently unknown. Hello. The following story contains pictures of gore, cannibalism, child death, Roblox, cursing. You have been warned. Hey, following. I'm just gonna turn this down. Anyone at all. The following is an actual story. It's an actual thing that happened to me. I mean, dead serious. Posting the story. Sorry, I'm posting the story here in order to warn other players. Potential danger they could be in. Okay, so a few days ago, I was walking back home after school, right? It's pretty normal for the most part. Until I walked by Mr. Drogger's house. This nice old dude that lives close to my home. This is where I live. They seemed to be having a garage sale. Well, most of the things didn't catch my eye. One thing did. Son, Jeremy's computer. Some context, Jeremy was this weird, quiet kid in my school, and while he and I never interacted much, it actually seemed pretty chill. So it kind of upset me hearing about how people apparently bullied him. Fortunately, Jeremy had, sadly, passed away a month or two ago before the time of the garage sale. Apparently he had suffered a seizure while playing a Roblox game and hit his head on the corner of his bed. Sorry if that went a bit too long. Where was I? Yeah, the garage sale. So I decided to ask Mr. Drogger if I could buy a computer off his hands. Quickly agreed. So went home and the new computer. As soon as I got home, I rushed to my bedroom, plugged in the computer in, and turned it on. I was immediately surprised because I found barren the desk. Jesus, I have like a stroke. Oh my God. I was immediately surprised because I found barren the desktop looked. Quite literally, the only thing there was Roblox. Like, that was it. Just Roblox. I was also surprised when, in fact, Mr. Drogger had seemingly forgotten to wipe the computer. I just chalked it up to him not being the best when it comes to technology. I was very curious and I opened Roblox. I will regret this decision for the rest of my life. It was much different than the regular one. The board is the screen. Instead of white, or sickly rusted crimson, and there were what seemed to be screaming faces within the colors, begging for mercy. However, it's clearly a simple glitch. Are you being serious? That does not sound like a glitch. Okay, I guess. It's just really fucking stupid. I looked down towards the game section and noticed something odd. Most of the games are covered in what seemed to be rust. Blood splatters laid across their icons. The only ones except for this, however, were also quite strange. They had no titles, but their icons were this. Excuse me. A noob, a guest, and what seemed to be Builder Man. I attempted to click on one of the rusted over dates. As soon as I tried to, text box suddenly appeared, stating in all caps, "No way, Jose!" I was really confused. Who the heck is Jose? Who names their kid that anyways? Like, that's a really stupid name. I couldn't even come up with a better name than that. Like, Jimmy, Paul, I thought to myself. Took a few more attempts to see if anything different would happen. I decided to click the new game. After 0.1 milliseconds, the game loaded. I spawned into what seemed to be an empty base plate. I was also playing as a noob. Themselves seemed to build an edge. Their face an uncomfortable grimace. I started walking towards the slow. Oh my God, I think I am having a stroke. Jesus. I started walking forward slowly, having no clue what to do. And that's when the really weird stuff started happening. It was subtle at first, a slight red tint on the ground, where it evolved into pools of blood, and soon enough, countless mangled, writhing, and screaming avatar corpses began littering the ground around the noob, who looked to be almost on the verge of tears now. Eventually, the blood began to build up to the noob's waist. At that point, I noticed something in the near distance. Another avatar was standing up. Its arms and head were pale white. Its source was a deep blue. Its legs were similar, remaining sky blue. I took an approach to the avatar, but the noob seemed to almost be fighting against the direction. The noob struggled against my control, but their attempts were in vain. How I wish it would. God. Sorry. I wish I would have just shut the computer down at that point. I was too curious to stop. As soon as I got close enough, the avatar turned its head around to face the noob. The noob visibly staggered. God. The noob visibly flinched and staggered back at. The avatar's eyes completely hollowed out, crimson dots peering out of the darkness as a red ichor spilled in empty sockets. The screen suddenly went black, and another text box appeared on the screen. Come on, lighten up a little. Don't try some fun. As I closed the text box, I was teleported to another game. I barely caught a glimpse of the name. Next screen. The loading screen only being on screen for 0.486,000. 86,500. 4,865,000. $486,507. 48,657,208 nanoseconds. I was able to see it. Ring around land at ROH-bloks. That title could not prepare me for the mildly strange sight I was soon to witness. As I loaded in, I noticed the piles upon piles of avatar bodies on the ground. What caught my eye was the mangled, disemboweled avatars that were moving almost like puppets. Their faces were contorting agony-filled expressions, their mouths open silent scream as they were forced to spin in circles, causing their entrails to entwine into a tight knot. The visual itself was reminiscent of the Rat King phenomenon, something I remember Jeremy to be strangely intrigued by. He was bawling at this point, clearly stressed by the sight before them. I, however, was not scared by this Rat King sight, for I knew it was simply an error in the program, and the fact that I'm not a wimp who gets scared by computer games. I continued walking and moved down the rows of dead avatars. Guess what? Another frickin' text box. This time it read, "Wow, you're really slow. Picking the pace when you're gonna get pawned." As I closed the text box, the timer started to tick, and the noob looked downright horrified at this point. I began to move. Instead of the slow pace the noob was walking previously, and all running for their life, turning in a slowly lowered pitch for a loud ringing sound to signify that time was up. I noticed something slowly walking towards the noob. And behold, it was the same avatar from earlier, and now donned a strangely cocky smirk. As soon as they started moving, the avatar immediately disappeared from the frame, for it can only be described as an enraged shriek sounded out, and the avatar reappeared from view, jogging after the noob at a faster pace than before. Eventually, the avatar caught the noob. No matter how many buttons it mashed or how much the noob struggled, nothing could prevent the avatar from pinning the noob down and brutally ripping their face clean off in one tear. My jaw dropped, practically fell to the floor as the avatar looked towards me with those hollow eyes. The time, for the first time, talked. Its voice was nothing like I expected. It was a raspy, scary. It was Jeremy's voice. It wasn't like it was trying to be Jeremy's. It was just his. No different from the last time I remembered speaking to him in biology class before he died. I cried, and that wasn't him. It wasn't his voice. It was. There's no denying it. Ah! Another newbie killed by this awesome cool guy who will never get laughed at again. At that, I spoke. Jeremy, is that you? After froze for a moment, responding. No, I'm not him. Jeremy's a loser. I massacred. Get it right next time, dimwit. How about we play round 2? Newbie McNoob face. And would immediately kick back on the homepage. However, the noob game was now gone, and only 2 left. The guest and Milderman. I attempted to close Roblox, only for Jeremy's voice. Massacre's voice echoed through the speakers. Massacre. This thing wasn't mad. Jesus Christ. I think I am having a stroke. I'm starting to think I am. See, this thing wasn't Jeremy anymore. He had changed, and for the worse. Massacre's voice echoed through the speakers. Nope, you still haven't played my game all the way through. I had no choice but to click on the guest game. I spawned to the familiar crossroads. I was, of course, playing as a guest. Then, text box appeared. However, this one wasn't all caps. It's actually pretty normal. But it's been a while since I've seen Noob. anyone for that matter. It's too quiet. I don't like this. You should probably look around for anyone else. Anyone else? Now I was confused. This wasn't Massacre talking. Who was it? I didn't think of anyone else. Unless it was the guest that was talking. That couldn't be true. No character. After all, Roblox characters aren't sentient. They're just plain stupid. Anyways, so I explained the area. I soon encountered a trail of blood leading towards the thieves' den. No text box appeared on screen. This one read, "What happened here?" When I closed the text box, the guest automatically equipped a sword, despite the fact I had no items in my inventory. When I arrived at the thieves' den, the sight I saw was shocking, to say the least. Massacre was hunched over on all fours over the corpse of the noob. Another text box appeared. What the hell? At that, Massacre froze and stood straight up. What I saw was horrifying. Massacre had strapped the noob's face onto his own, blood and half-chewed entrails dripping from his mouth. As Massacre strained his posture, I got a better look at the noob. The ribcage was now exposed, shattered bone jutting out graphically. The guests looked like they were shaking at this point. The grip fought from the sword, their posture shifted to more of a fighting stance. "Who are you, and what the hell have you done?" The text box said. Massacre began to laugh. "Oh, look here. The little guest is angry. How scary. What are you gonna do, huh? Knock my block." Massacre's cut off from the guest. Suddenly, without any input from me, the sword straight into Massacre's head, fell to the ground, limp, as blood began to pour from the wound. "It's my friend. Bastard." Another text box stated. I'm gonna walk away. Massacre suddenly got back up and spun his head around so fast the sword ripped free from his skull, sending blood everywhere. The guest stood there, shocked, quickly lunged forward and grabbed the sword. "This fake guest," Massacre stated. He sounded more gurgly, I guess, kind of like he was talking underwater. I was quickly more concerned with the fact that Massacre's body was shifting. His skin darkened to a pitch black, his skin began to crack. By the end of Massacre's transformation, it looked entirely different. It was some gigantic, malformed, pure black monstrosity that barely fit inside the thieves' den. Yes, to their credit, immediately fled the area. Massacre, originally, also made out of thieves' den, allowing me to see how truly titanic he had become. He rivaled the Blacklock. The Blacklock? What? He rivaled the Blackrock Castle in height. Lord knows how he even managed to fit inside the thieves' den. Just thinking about it gives me a migraine. So that's something I had earlier. His head was closest to that, had a figure that resembled a void star. A head I remember Jeremy wanting extremely bad. Massacre now towered over the guest, his face resembling more of a shattered doll's one now. I stared in shock before Massacre began talking. "No, most newbies I get the pleasure of pawning never get to see me like this. So I guess this could be a thank you, sorts. Whatever. You pissed me off enough, guest. Now, you will learn to fear the Reaper." Giant writhing, suddenly slammed down next to the guest. She promptly slashed with the sword, causing blood to tear from it. Massacre let out a rage screech and seemed momentarily stunned. She gave the guest the perfect opportunity to escape, which they immediately did. As soon as Massacre realized, he froze. He seemed genuinely shocked that someone had managed to escape. However, the silence was soon interrupted by Massacre's voice. What? How? This hasn't happened before. I usually just down and cried before I killed him. What the hell am I supposed to do now? You know what? I'm just gonna move on. After all, Massacre suddenly looked towards me with his hollowed eyes. We still have one more noob to pawn. I was kicked back to the home screen, this time with the guest game missing. And that left only one, Builderman. I clicked on the game with trepidation, worried, and also curious about what was going to happen. I spawned into an area that seemed to be the Roblox World headquarters, but something was off. The ground, instead of being green in order to simulate grass, said brown, as if it had died. Oh, and I was not playing as Builderman. Builderman seemed rightfully worried. His face was never frowned, his hand shaking as he clutched a strange, hammer-looking thing. Not sure what it was, but if anyone seeing this knows, please tell me. Okay, so that's the band hammer. But how would the story have the band hammer if it was? How would the band hammer was released in the 2010s, I think. The gear on Roblox. this story says that April 15th, 2009. So I don't understand, really. Like, you know what? Never mind. No, never mind. We'll still gotta read the bigger deal anyways. I hesitantly began walking towards the closer of the two buildings, went for Massacre to suddenly teleport behind Builderman and toss him like a sack of potatoes backwards. Ha! Idiot! You don't get to just walk away! Massacre took a step towards the currently down Builderman. Massacre saw the noob's face strapped to his own, but now had a scar from where the guest had thrown their sword. Builderman got up and swung the hammer towards Massacre, but from the teleport behind him and tossed Builderman to the ground yet again. This proceeded to go on for another 4 minutes. When all said and done, Builderman was on his knees, panting. Massacre yanked the hammer out of Builderman's hands, ready to swing. But right before he did so, he started talking again. Oh, dumb Builderman. Haven't you realized there is no God here? The closest thing you're gonna get. He swung the hammer down straight onto Builderman's head, causing it to rupture. His eyes popped out of his skull. Massacre lifted the hammer. You could see pieces of brain matter stuck to it. The screen suddenly went black for 2 seconds, before Massacre's voice rang out. So many newbies to pawn, yet so little time. Wouldn't you agree? The screen faded to an image of Massacre sat upon a pile of blocks and corpses. The hammer Builderman once wielded slung over his shoulder. Though I could barely see his face underneath the noob's own, I knew he was smirking. Then, the guest, still alive, suddenly leaped out from behind the mountain of corpses and began wrestling Massacre, who seemed startled. Maybe startled. Startled. Scared. Startled. Maybe even a little scared. Oh, maybe even a little scared. Quickly realized what I had to do. I had to stop this bastard from causing any more chaos than he already has. I got out of my chair and ripped the cord from the wall socket. I then smashed the entire computer to bits, dumped the remains to my trash can. Wow, that was intense, thought to myself. Too many questions, no answers. I decided to focus on that tomorrow and went to bed. The past few days have been pretty uneventful until yesterday. I saw him, Massacre. He was playing Sword Fight on the Heights 4, I think. IV is 4. Yeah, Sword Fight on the Heights 4. When I saw someone who looked exactly like Massacre, I immediately left and haven't played since. This is why be a warning to all players. If you see anything like I described in this post, leave the game. Sorry if this was long. I really just need to tell people about this. If you have any information, please let me know. That is all, and goodbye for now. And that was Roblox.EXE. I have to be honest, I don't know what to think. Like, why did it even have .exe in the name when it didn't have anything to do with executable files? And it feels like parody. Not parody. This feels like it was definitely inspired by that one, the one really bad creepypasta. What was it? Fucking evil ass Sonic.exe. Yeah, Sonic.exe. Yeah. It's like the Void Born Entity or something. Sorry, something. But I don't know. Maybe Israel, Ivoris, but who am I kidding? It's not. Pretty sure his friend lied. If they're, sorry, assuming genders. I'm pretty sure their friend lied to them about it. Like, unless it is real? I'm not entirely sure. Who knows? I don't really care that much, honestly. I guess, like, the implications that Massacre somehow escaped the confines of the computer when it got destroyed is now just unleashed onto Roblox is a pretty interesting thought. Maybe like a type of entity running around inside of that game, like some Herobrine type shit, like John Doe, like a Roblox myth, those things. Yeah. Anyways, good night, everyone, and I hope to see you soon.